It was 7:15 p.m. on February 28, 2021, when the Ontario police began receiving a barrage of calls. Dozens of people reported hearing what they described as real gunfire. These were not firecrackers or other noises, but unmistakable gunshots. The callers mentioned hearing approximately 12 shots in succession, followed by more gunfire and the sound of engines. The most alarming call came from an eyewitness who was driving along Arvin Avenue in the industrial park. The caller discovered a woman covered in blood, lying in a ditch. The woman was crawling on the ground, desperately raising her hand and pleading. The caller promptly dialed 911 requesting an ambulance and a patrol car. Within minutes, the area was cordoned off by the authorities. Unfortunately, the assailants had vanished by the time the police arrived. The witness could not provide any additional information. The police and ambulance teams soon arrived at the scene, which was located at 347 Arvin Avenue in an industrial building that was large, green, and seemingly unremarkable at first glance. However, as the investigation progressed, the full extent of the violence became apparent. The first victim identified was 26-year-old Jordyn Romano, who had sustained 3 gunshot wounds, one of which had lodged in her chest. Her condition was critical. Though she initially appeared to be conscious, she was rushed to the nearest hospital for emergency care. Further investigation revealed the lifeless body of 39-year-old Tyler Pratt in the back. He had been shot a total of 6 times, with the cause of death confirmed as multiple gunshot wounds. Tyler Pratt had been shot 6 times. 3 of the bullets penetrated his arm, one passed through the back of his neck and exited near his ear, and another caused a scratch on his chin. Despite these wounds, none appeared immediately fatal. However, the 6th bullet proved fatal. It penetrated his chest and lodged in his left lung. Forensic pathologist Andrew Williams indicated that Pratt did not die instantly. While it was impossible to determine the exact duration of his suffering, it could have lasted between 2 minutes to 2 hours. Toxicology reports revealed low levels of methadone in his bloodstream, which did not contribute to his death, but did provide insight into his lifestyle. This indicated that Pratt was a heavy user of methadone and was likely undergoing treatment for opiates. At the crime scene, investigators found bullet casings and projectiles scattered across the ground. These included fired and unfired 9mm Luger bullets. Additionally, the building's structure showed signs of damage. Initially, the damage was not apparent, but upon closer inspection, white paint scratches on the floor and walls suggested that a white car had collided with the building. The scene suggested that the incident might have been a drug-related conflict or a gang confrontation. However, the crucial information was held by Jordyn Romano, who was initially unable to provide any details. She fell into a coma upon arrival at the hospital, where her critical condition was further complicated by the discovery that she was pregnant. Tragically, the baby did not survive. The 3 days Jordyn spent in a coma were agonizing for her family and the doctors. Efforts to save her life seemed futile. Her survival hinged entirely on her own strength and will to live. When she eventually regained consciousness, the police hoped she would recall the identities of the assailants, which would solve the case. Otherwise, solving the case would be exceedingly difficult. During this period, the police continued their investigation. Their first task was to examine the lives of the 2 victims, Tyler Pratt and Jordyn Romano. The couple had been together for a year and a half, during which they had undergone significant change. Tyler Pratt was a father of 3. Despite his troubled lifestyle, he had made notable efforts to turn his life around. He had been a student at St. Anne's Catholic Academy and was an avid supporter of the Montreal Canadiens field hockey team. He also founded Hard as Diamonds, a diamond company, and Elite Organic Nutrition, a weight loss supplements company. In 2021, he was working on a mobile app, details of which remain unknown. According to his mother, Tyler was a devoted father, a loving son, a talented entrepreneur, and a person driven by a quest for excellence. However, sources revealed that Tyler's seemingly perfect life was not as spotless as it appeared. To fund his business ventures, he had to invest substantial amounts of money, which his humble, hardworking family could not provide. His wealth was largely attributed to drug trafficking. Jordyn claimed that Tyler handled up to $1 million debt. Nonetheless, when Jordyn became pregnant, the couple decided they wanted stability and security for their. Tyler and Jordyn were determined to provide a stable legal income for their future child, ensuring their son would have a secure future and that Tyler would avoid imprisonment. To achieve this, they decided to overhaul their lives, severing ties with their substantial financial resources. They had the means to clean up their image. In September 2020, they relocated from British Columbia to Toronto, starting afresh. They purchased a new home, established new friendships, and made. In Toronto, they met Tyler's new best friend, 29-year-old Oliver Carafa, through a mutual acquaintance named Alex, commonly known as Sasha. From the very beginning, Tyler and Oliver were inseparable. Oliver was well-liked, and the two quickly developed a close friendship. By January, they organized a dinner party where Jordyn was introduced to Oliver's new friend, 25-year-old Janelle Lee, also known as Lucy Lee. Oliver Carafa, originally from Slovakia, was the only child of Maria and Borj Carafa. His family moved to Toronto when he was a teenager. Reports suggest that Oliver was accustomed to having his every whim fulfilled, and he was known for being a party animal who often found himself in trouble. His behavior came to a head one night in 2012 when he went out partying with his best friend, David Shang, who was 24 at the time. The two visited several bars, became intoxicated, and Oliver decided to drive while under the. Not only was he impaired, but he was also speeding. In a tragic turn of events, Oliver lost control of the vehicle and crashed into a wall. The vehicle crashed into a wall, causing David Shang to be ejected through the glass, resulting in his tragic death. Oliver Carafa was released on a $20,000 bail and walked out of the College Park courthouse in the same clothes he had worn when arrested early Tuesday morning. He faced charges of impaired driving, causing the death of his 24-year-old friend, David Shang. Carafa was required to live under house arrest and could only leave home in the company of his parents, who had flown in from Slovakia. In 2014, Oliver was sentenced to 5 years in prison. After serving his time, he met Lucy Lee. While some sources suggest they met online, others indicate they were introduced through mutual friends. Regardless of how they met, they formed a strong connection quickly. Lucy Lee was quite similar to Oliver. Both were accustomed to a privileged lifestyle. In 2021, Lucy was a successful influencer and model, frequently appearing on magazine covers. Her family was wealthy, and she leveraged her social media presence to her advantage, often posting videos and participating in clap sessions with her sisters. Their shared online content and lifestyle made them popular, attracting significant brand sponsorship. When Lucy and Oliver met, their relationship blossomed, and they envisioned building a future together, including marriage and establishing their own businesses. However, Oliver was not living an entirely clean life. At the time, he was involved in stealing and selling cars, which was profitable but not sufficient for his ambitions. He aspired to become a millionaire and decided to start his own personal protection company. To do so, he needed substantial investment, which he lacked. In October 2020, Oliver met Tyler Pratt, who would become his main investor. The two couples began to socialize frequently, enjoying dinners, lunches, and trips together. They exchanged gifts and built a strong rapport. Tyler felt so comfortable with Oliver that he disclosed details about his business, his savings, and the fact that most of his money was kept in. At that moment, Oliver had a breakthrough idea and suggested to Tyler that he invest all his money in a European personal protective equipment company. He assured Tyler that the company would be a success and that there would be high demand for shares. As good friends, Tyler trusted Oliver and decided to invest. The initial investment was set at $70,000 with the promise that this amount would be repaid with interest by March 1, 2021. Weeks and months passed, and on a seemingly ordinary day, Oliver approached Tyler with a screenshot showing a bank account balance of $12 million. This was meant to confirm that the business was thriving. However, Oliver soon claimed that recovering the funds was not as straightforward as anticipated due to the complexities of European banking tax regulations, and additional complications caused by COVID-19. Oliver explained that they needed to travel to Prague to open accounts there, but travel restrictions made this impossible. To address this situation, Oliver proposed opening a life insurance policy abroad to access European accounts. Although this plan seemed convoluted, Oliver assured Tyler that it was necessary. The life insurance policy was supposedly to be in Jordyn's name, with the initial deposit made in Canada and subsequent deposits coming from Europe. The policy was initially valued at $2.08 million, but was later reduced to $1.05 million. On February 24, the documents for this insurance were signed, but it was later revealed that the signatures were forged. While waiting for the situation to resolve, Oliver and Lucy decided to establish a second business closer to home. They planned to use a supposed industrial building owned by Lucy's mother. They visited her to explore this opportunity and potentially purchase the property. However, this was a fabrication. The $500,000 they had invested was futile because the company did not exist. Oliver and Lucy had embezzled the funds, and the insurance policy was fraudulent. Furthermore, the industrial building likely did not belong to Lucy's mother. It was all a ruse. Realizing that the truth would soon come out, Oliver chose not to confess, but instead to eliminate his victims. On the morning of February 28th, Oliver purchased an Audi from a friend's mother. He then turned to another friend for assistance with two tasks. First, to lend him a 9mm Luger, and second, to take 2 SIM cards and insert them into 2 phones. The idea was to send messages from these phones to create the illusion that Oliver and Lucy were at home. The SIM cards belonged to Oliver and Lucy, and the plan was to impersonate them, pretending to be at home and texting from different rooms, one from the dining room as Oliver and the other from the bedroom as Lucy. 12 p.m. when Oliver and Lucy were seen going upstairs in their house, appearing relaxed and chatting. They were next recorded at 3 p.m. when Lucy took the elevator dressed incognito, wearing a black hoodie and a blonde wig. Lucy, trying to keep her face obscured from the security cameras, successfully avoided being clearly identified. The police speculated that while Lucy was in the elevator, Oliver was quickly ascending the stairs to mislead anyone into thinking they were. The plan was to eventually head to the industrial building, where Tyler and Jordyn were expected for lunch earlier that day. Since Tyler and Jordyn did not arrive, they went out for pizza with Jordyn's brother. They enjoyed their meal and returned to the scene at 5 p.m. Oliver and Lucy, however, did not appear until 25 minutes later, which angered Tyler significantly. Despite their pretense of normalcy when they met, once inside the building, they discovered everything was locked and they had no way to get it. Tyler was increasingly frustrated, feeling deceived, while Jordyn, feeling cold and detached, was unwilling to engage in the escalating argument. The guard took the keys and went to the car, a white Range Rover. He started the engine, turned on the heating, and adjusted the passenger seat. At that moment, Lucy appeared and took the driver's seat without speaking. Earlier, Lucy had complimented Jordyn on her appearance, praised her dress and hairstyle, and mentioned that to make up for the delay, she had booked a reservation at an exclusive restaurant for a wonderful dinner. Despite this, Lucy did not acknowledge Jordyn, who was puzzled by her silence. Lucy fiddled with her phone, then abruptly turned off the car and exited. Jordyn, confused and frustrated, switched seats and started the engine, leading to a chaotic situation. The next thing Jordyn remembered was Oliver pulling out a gun and aiming it at her. He demanded she get down, and despite her screams, she heard gunshots almost immediately. Paralyzed with fear, Jordyn couldn't move. Her mouth was open, her body trembling, and her eyes wide with terror. Oliver then told her to get out. Jordyn recalled Tyler's last words were, "Oliver, what is it?" Jordyn couldn't recall how she escaped the car and crawled away, nor how the assailants failed to find her. As she crawled away, they stole her Range Rover and disappeared. At 3 a.m., Oliver and Lucy took Lucy's Mercedes to a gas station that opened only at 3 o'clock. They spent 3 hours waiting for the station to open. When it did, Oliver bought a few items while Lucy went to the bathroom to dispose of evidence. Her method was unusual. She placed the hat, wig, and a handful of bullets into a garbage bag and flushed it down the toilet, believing this would eliminate the evidence. Afterward, they met up, hailed a cab, and headed to the airport. They boarded a flight to Frankfurt, Germany, and from there traveled to Slovakia, where they remained for several months. They hid in a relative's house, and incredibly, the relatives did not turn them in or contact the police. During this time, Oliver and Lucy remained silent. Jordyn was in a coma for 3 days, but when she awoke, she revealed everything. The false friendship, the scams, and what had been done to her. The police issued an international alert. They knew the suspects were in Europe, but they couldn't locate them. Sooner or later, Oliver and Lucy made a mistake and traveled to Budapest. From there, they planned to obtain fake passports to return to Canada. However, they were eventually caught, and the police arrested them, separated them, and began the extradition. When Lucy's mother found out, she offered to pay for a business class ticket for her daughter to travel as a tourist, but the police refused her offer. Once in custody, each suspect told their side of the story. Oliver thought Lucy would support him, but as soon as they arrived in prison, Lucy tried to distance herself. She told her lawyer that she was merely a victim who didn't know what was going to happen, that she didn't want to kill anyone. She claimed that in the elevator footage, she wasn't pretending to be someone else but had left the house very angry and put on a fetish wig to attract attention. The judge, however, did not believe her. Lucy also claimed she had no knowledge of what was going to happen later. She stated that she was unaware Oliver intended to shoot and kill anyone. At the onset of the incident, she was at the opposite end of the warehouse and saw nothing. After the shooting, Oliver told her that Tyler's gang would come after them, that they were in trouble, and that he had to defend himself. He suggested they should flee. However, Jordyn proved this to be a lie. She demonstrated that Lucy was aware of the plan from the beginning. The evidence, including the cars, clothing, and the victims' name found at the crime scenes, was damning. The trial took place in May 2024, and both were sentenced to life imprisonment with no possibility of parole for 25 years. As for the fairness of the sentences, it seems that the court aimed to deliver justice given the gravity of the crimes committed. Life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for such heinous acts reflects the severity with which the legal system views their offenses. The sentences ensure that those responsible are held accountable and that the victims receive some measure of justice. I hope you found this case as intriguing as I did. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and a comment below sharing your thoughts on the case. Do you believe Lucy was genuinely unaware of what was going to happen? Or was she secretly involved in the scam? Leave your opinion in the comments, and I'll make sure to like your response as soon as I can. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.